Good morning, guys. Hope everyone out there can hear me. My name is Malcolm Rogers. What we're doing today is we're going to be talking about not just the coronavirus effects on companies, but to ask the question to yourself and to your additional business owners, which is, are you prepared to reopen? This webinar is very critical in today's society because the economy has just been turned upside down for the last 60 to 90 days, and we're still not out of the pandemic. Most people are forecasting that it's going to last through May, with companies still having a decrease in overall demand. So with that being said, guys, let's jump right into it. This is our webinar is being brought to you by NBDG Consultants, which is National Business Development Group, whose mission is to educate the entrepreneur ecosystem. NBDG Consultants is a management consulting group developed to assist the mid and small size business with strategic strategy, process improvement, leadership development, revenue and profit growth. And NBDG Consultants help set up and implement operational initiatives that improve processes, reduce expenses, and drive bottom line revenues. Just a little information about your speaker. This is myself, Malcolm Rogers. I'm an executive MBA graduate with a degree in global business expansion. I'm also a certified project manager and a serial entrepreneur with businesses in transportation, real estate, as well as in consulting. And I am the author of the Foolish Entrepreneur Strategy Guide to Creating and Growing a Successful Business. Now, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the juicy part of the presentation. What I'll be showing you guys today is 7 critical things that you can do now to make sure that your business is in position to open, but also to make sure that you're lean enough to make sure that you don't have any issues when you open. And the reason why we are stressing that is because a lot of counties and states are opening today and they're only able to open up at 25% capacity, which is just awful because you have 100% of bills to pay on a month-to-month basis. So it's causing a lot of people some heartache. Some companies are choosing not to open, while others have to open at this point because they've been closed so long without any revenue coming in. So these things that we're going to present to you today is going to help you fight off some of these financial heartaches that you could potentially face. Before we dive into that, guys, I hope everyone's watching the Chicago Bulls Last Dance documentary. I want to show you guys this picture, which what you'll see is Michael Jordan there actually doing a pivot, what's called a pivot in basketball, where he has the option to keep his left foot down by changing directions. This relates to business. In business, you have to do what's called business pivoting sometimes, where you want to continue to keep your core strategy, your core values rather, in place, but you have to make some different pivots and change directions with your strategy because the overall economy is either internal or X factors have changed. But with you being business leaders, this is why you got into the business, so that you can make these tough decisions. So let's jump into it. The first thing that you guys have to do with the new economy is to create a plan. I can't stress this enough. I have a lot of people, some of our clients are not only creating a plan, but some people are completely revamping their business plan to make it more agile. What we mean by agile is having the agility to adjust and make these business pivots depending on the supply and demand of what actually the customer wants. The more agile your plan is, the more flexibility and options that you have to bring in different streams of revenue. Next thing we want to stress to people is to establish SMART goals. If you haven't done SMART goals before, I definitely recommend that you look into establishing SMART goals and to actually work towards those goals. Right now, it's very important for companies to celebrate the small wins. It won't be a flip of the switch where the demand comes back. It will be more like a gradual sunset where things will pick back up over time. And the last thing for the first bullet point I want to give you, which is create a plan, is to identify your key resources. Now, what we mean by identify your key resources is that you need to identify not only the key personnel, but the key skill sets that you'll need in order for your business to grow in the future, as well as if there's any key technology or machinery that you need to make sure that you can operate more efficiently and streamline some of your day-to-day processes. This is very important because there are a lot of companies now who are trying to become as lean as possible, and they're just not going to be bringing their employees back in, but identifying the key resources that they need to continue to excel. Number two is to adjust your marketing strategy, which is huge right now. The first thing I want to talk about is maximizing your CRM system. I'm hoping that everyone out there has a CRM system, which is a customer relationship management system. The importance of having a CRM system is that you can automate a lot of your marketing so that you can continue to follow up with your customers to drive business to your website or drive business to your front door. It's very key to have this in place because as small business owners, you guys don't have the capacity or the funds rather to hire a lot of different personnel, but your CRM system, if set up correctly, can act as a sales agent. Next thing we have down is identifying low performing leads and marketing channels. This is key because if you have a vast variety of marketing sources that you're getting leads from, you want to look at those and see who's giving you the least leads volume compared to the ones who might be giving you a lot of lead volume. I'm talking to all your lead providers to understand what they're seeing in their market is very key to make sure that you're maximizing and leaning into those relationships to make sure that you're not throwing dollars down the drain, paying for lead providers who are just giving you bad leads. Outside of that, what you want to do with these lead providers is that you want to track your customer acquisition costs per lead source. This is very important. We have clients now who we did a full-blown analysis for when it comes to customer acquisition costs, only to find out that the lead source that was giving them the highest volume actually had the lowest conversion, which led to the highest customer acquisition costs. Customer acquisition costs is how much money are you paying to obtain that customer. For the people who have high customer acquisition costs for a specific lead provider, you may want to either look at making tweaks to the areas that you're marketing in or just completely getting rid of that lead provider. We're in a day and age now where we have to be as strategic and efficient as possible when it comes to marketing. Next thing we have down is develop and review heat maps. If those of you who out there don't use heat maps today, I definitely stress it. What heat maps allow you to do is to concentrate your marketing a little bit more. You don't want to have a broad range of marketing, but you want to be strategic in understanding what areas that you want to send your marketing message out to customers who are actually ready to convert and to use your service or buy your product. A heat map will help you identify these in these days and times as the demand continues to slow. You want to make sure that you're targeting customers who are actually ready to buy. Next thing, and the most important thing, is to engage former customers. You want to make sure that you engage in your former customers, thanking them for the service of business that they've brought to you, encouraging them to use your business again or refer their friends, because people love to use services that other people recommend to them. They'll at least try it out. So you want to lean on your past and former customer group to help you bring back additional customers going forward. Outside of that, the last thing you want to do is start establishing relationships with complementary businesses. We have some moving companies that we consult to, and what they're doing is reaching out to some cleaning companies and real estate agents and apartment complexes, making sure that they can pass lead sources to each other and make referrals for each other and generate business. The good thing about this is most of the time this is free. This is companies working together to bring back the entrepreneur or small business ecosystem. So do some deep dive in there and think about what other business product line or service actually complements our service, so that you can reach out to them and establish that relationship. Number 3 is to adjust your finances. This is huge right now because a lot of people have not gotten any revenue in the last 2 months, so you have to adjust your financing. Like we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of companies out there who can only operate at 25% capacity, but you have to pay 100% of your bills. So you have to realize that you have to make a business pivot and adjust your financing. You cannot continue to spend the same type of money. Otherwise, you're looking at potentially going out of business much quicker than projected. First thing I want to stress, and I'll always say this, is that cash flow is king. I'll say that again. Cash flow is king. At this time, I'm going to recommend that on a week-by-week basis that you're doing financial forecasting to understand how much cash you'll be coming in your business versus the amount of cash flow that will be going out of your business, and seeing how you can minimize or reduce the expenses portion as much as possible while also maximizing the income that your business can bring in. Outside of that, you want to maximize trade lines. This is huge for adjusting your financing. What we mean by trade lines is that you might have partners that you buy products or just different services that you use. You want to reach out to them and see if they can extend any credit lines to you. Communicate with them about your financial situations to see if you can get any late fees or interest postponed until your business can get back up and running at full capacity. One of the main and most important things with this is that your trade lines or your partners that you're getting these products from, they'll appreciate that phone call to let them know that, hey, I'm running late on the payments, I'm not going to be able to pay this month, so that they can make some adjustments on their end. But at that time too, they don't want you to go out of business, because if you go out of business, they lose income. So they'll rather work with you than work without you. So you want to reach out to them and make sure that you maximize those trade lines. Next thing is to renegotiate with your suppliers when it comes to the contracts that you have set up. Again, some people I know don't feel comfortable with this, but it's very easy reaching out to them, letting them know your situation. And what I recommend to a lot of people is bring a solution to the table for them to see how they can make adjustments before they let you know what they're doing for their standard customer. You want to make sure that what you are recommending for them to help you is best for your business. Everything that they have in place that might be standard might not be the best solution for your company. Next thing is to adjust your employees' compensation if needed. A lot of people now are moving to compensation with a pay for performance plan, which allows you to pay your employees based on the amount of output or sales that they bring in. This is huge because it lowers your overhead when it comes to employee salaries or hourly wages, and it makes them earn more. They can earn more money by giving you more productivity. You want to watch this because you don't want them doing anything unethical. So you want to make sure whatever metrics that you use for the compensation plan is also tied to quality. Another thing that I wanted to talk about that you don't see on the PowerPoint when it comes to adjusting your financing is reevaluating your business to see if there's a portion of your business that you potentially may be able to outsource. And this is huge too, because when you outsource, usually that's fully paying for performance. I had a company who is looking at outsourcing their entire call center, which is going to relieve the owner of a lot of hands-on phone calling and paperwork that they typically did, and it's actually going to be cheaper to let the new company do it than keeping it in-house. So you definitely want to look at these different compensation plans and how you have your internal business structure. Outside of that, the last thing I want to stress to you again, guys, is cash flow is king. I'll say that one more time. Cash flow is king. We're at a time now where you need to be evaluating your financial position on a week-by-week basis, making sure that you have projected sales coming in or traffic coming to your site. You want to make sure that you're operating your business as though it is day one of ever opening up. Going to our number 4 task that you can do today is you want to identify and track KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators, which are key metrics that you want to track on a weekly or monthly basis to make sure that you guys don't have any holes or gaps in your process. The first thing you want to do if you don't have KPIs, if you want to develop KPIs, you want to understand what these key metrics are for your business to lead to business success. Once you have these KPIs in place, the next thing you want to do is to benchmark these KPIs, set a boundary or a limitation to understand that, hey, if this measurement of success goes below, let's say 100% or 30%, then you want that to ring the alarm so that you can look into what might have happened on why you had such a huge decrease with this key performance indicator. Next thing you want to do is when you get these key performance indicators, I'm going to recommend that you create or adjust your business scorecard. Your business scorecard gives you a snapshot of how all your KPIs, your business health is doing. Understanding your business scorecard is key to business success. This should definitely be produced at the minimum on a monthly basis so that you know what kind of business pivots that you might need to make for the month after, to make sure that for the overall quarter, you guys are not headed down a rabbit trail. Next thing you want to do when it comes to KPIs is once you put these new KPIs and metrics in place, you want to communicate to your staff the new expectation. It's times now where a lot of not only business owners, but a lot of employees are working on eggshells. They don't know what tomorrow will bring. So it's your job to level set with them and let them know what this new expectation is going to be, so that they can work towards assisting you with gradually increasing the traffic and the cash flow to the company. Number 5 is making timely decisions. This is key, and this is what separates the successful business from the unsuccessful businesses. In today's time, making good decisions is very important, but also making timely decisions is just as important as making key decisions. You can do this with a couple of different reports and analysis. You can do a workforce analysis to understand how many employees you truly need to hit those key performance indicators to make sure that your business is successful. You can do a cost benefit analysis going forward to understand if there equipment that you do or do not have, what is the cost benefit that it's bringing you? Are you spending more money to have this equipment than you're actually bringing in as far as revenue, looking at that true ROI to understand where your money's going. And then you want to take these things and look at creating a decision tree, which will help you simplify your decision-making process so that you can make the best decision for the company overall. And last but not least is that you want to look at your cash flow projection documentation and make the business adjustments that's needed to ensure business success for the future. It's very key that you guys combine looking at the key performance indicators with doing these combination of analysis to make sure that your business is on the road to success. Number 6 goes to communication, which is huge in today's times because there are a lot of what they call fake news out there, and you want your employees to know which news is truly can affect your company overall. And employees are really engaged from what I can see from a lot of people that we're dealing with now. They're willing to help the company out as much as possible, because once the company's income gets affected, it also affects that employee's household income. So the main thing you want to do going forward is to be transparent, not only with your employees, but also your customers about what you're doing to keep them safe, what adjustments that you're making to keep the employees, yourself safe, as well as your customers safe as they're going through the process of making transactions. You want to reestablish what makes your company unique and valuable. This is key when it comes to communication, when you're re-engaging your former customers as well as your potential new customers, letting them know why your product or service can serve to be a value to them, because nowadays customers want to make an emotional connection, and with you pushing out and consistently pushing out a message, this will definitely give you the upper hand compared to your competition. And one of the major things that you want to do is you want to be consistent with the communication. Send out a consistent message to your staff members and employees, letting them know that they can trust you, because this is a time where they have to feel that they can trust leadership, as well as for the customers to make sure that they can also trust leadership, but also trust the employees, making sure that the employees understand how to engage the customers who will be coming in the door, and making sure that they feel comfortable in order for them to make the customer comfortable. The next thing we want to hit on, and the last thing, comes down to leadership. And this is huge. Getting buy-in from your overall team is really important right now. And it's more important for leadership to be as visible as possible, to let the employees know that you're in this together. One of the things that leadership needs to establish now, and employees have been off work for a little bit over 2 months now, is the overall vision of the company, reestablishing the vision of the company, because we know that, hey, we don't have as much demand, to let them know what the future projections will be and what the future looks like overall, and letting them establish the vision and drilling into them again what the overall mission of the company is before coronavirus hit the U.S. economy. Next thing is be encouraging to your employees. Employees are walking into a tense work environment. For those of you who will be bringing your employees back, you want to encourage them from day one, setting the tempo, making sure you have a high synergy and an engaging cultural environment. But for the companies who have never historically operated remotely, you want to engage those employees as much as possible who are at home, to let them know that they have not been forgotten. During these times as well, the third thing we have that comes under leadership is to show empathy. There's a lot of people out there who are just uncomfortable with the amount of news out there. They don't know what to believe. So you want to show as much empathy as possible in correcting any misconceptions or miscommunication with your employees. Be very understanding, because there are a lot of people out there who families have suffered losses or are just in a financially tense situation. But as leaders, it's our jobs to understand and offer them just a shoulder or an ear to hear out what their problem and potentially offer solutions. Next thing that's important as leaders for us in today's time, more than ever, is to be visible. Being visible as a leader, that speaks volumes. Coming out there on the floor with your employees, getting on webinars and actually letting them see your face, it brings a sense of comfort. Be as visible as possible, or as much as your time allow, keeping your distance and following the CDC guidelines to ensure that your employees know that not only are you going to keep them safe, but you as well are willing to work side by side with them. And the last thing we have down as leadership is don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. This is a time that your employees look to leadership for as much guidance as possible. So just getting in the trenches with them and letting them know that you understand and are willing to work with them and that you appreciate their time. This goes a long way when it comes to employees, especially in today's time. Guys, for us, that's it for this presentation. What I'll be opening up now is anybody have questions, they can put them in the chat and I'll be responding to them. Again, this presentation was brought to you by NBDG, which is National Business Development Group, where our mission is to educate the entrepreneur ecosystem. And with that said, I'll be checking the chat and answering any additional questions.